Wait, did Jon Moxley just break the fourth wall of professional wrestling? Did the lunatic Fringe, the man who walked away from WWE at the peak of his power, just send a message that could shake the very foundation of both AEW and WWE? Because what happened in the last 48 hours isn't just wrestling drama. This is personal. This is family. This is about a line that CM Punk crossed that you don't come back from. And when Moxley speaks, when the Death Rider puts his name on something, you better believe the entire wrestling world stops and listens. So buckle up, because what you're about to hear will leave you speechless. Before we dive into this absolute chaos, I need you to do something for me. If you're part of the SLAMZONE family, if you bleed wrestling the way we do, hit that subscribe button right now. Not tomorrow, not later, right now. Because we're building something special here, and I don't want you to miss a single second of the madness that unfolds every single week. Tap that notification bell, show some love with a like, and let me know in the comments where you stand on this situation. Are you Team Moxley? Team Punk? Or are you just here watching the wrestling world implode? Let's go. So let me paint you a picture. CM Punk, the self-proclaimed voice of the voiceless, the man who came back to wrestling after 7 years and told us all he was here for the love of the sport. He just committed career suicide. During a heated promo exchange, Punk went nuclear. He didn't just attack his opponent, he didn't just go after their wrestling ability or their legacy, he brought up someone's dead father. Let that sink in. In a business where we've seen chair shots, blood, broken bones, and careers ended, there are still some lines you never cross. And Punk took a flamethrower to that line and burned it to ashes. The wrestling world exploded. Social media went into meltdown. Fans were divided. Some said it's just heat, it's just getting people to react. But most of us, the ones who understand what this business is really about, we knew Punk had gone too far. You can attack a man's pride, you can question his skills, you can even go after his championships, but family? The dead? That's sacred ground, brother. And then, silence. For almost 24 hours, nobody knew what to say. Locker rooms in both AEW and WWE were reportedly in shock. Veterans were shaking their heads. Young wrestlers were watching to see what the fallout would be. Because when you cross that line, when you disrespect the dead in front of millions, someone has to answer. Someone has to stand up and say enough is enough. Enter Jon Moxley. Now, Moxley and Roman Reigns, they go way back. Shield brothers. They bled together, they conquered together, they built an empire together in WWE. And even though Mox walked away from that empire, even though he chose a different path and helped build AEW into a legitimate competitor, that bond? That brotherhood? It doesn't just disappear. You don't go to war with someone, you don't trust them with your life in that ring, and then just forget about them because you're on different rosters. Moxley took to social media, and what he posted wasn't some corporate-approved statement. This wasn't run through AEW management. This was raw, this was real, this was Moxley being Moxley. He posted a message directed at Roman Reigns, and you could feel every single word dripping with respect, with understanding, with that unbreakable brotherhood that transcends company lines. He wrote, and I'm paraphrasing here because the exact words hit different when you read them yourself, he essentially said, "Joe, I know what you're going through right now. I know what it's like when someone disrespects your family, your legacy, the people who aren't here to defend themselves. I walked away from a lot, but I never walked away from respect. And what Punk did, that ain't wrestling. That's not heat. That's a man who's lost his way. You don't have to carry that weight alone. Shield brothers for life." Can you feel that? Can you feel the electricity of what just happened? Moxley didn't have to do this. He could have stayed quiet. He could have let WWE and Roman handle their own business. But he didn't. Because some things are bigger than companies, bigger than contracts, bigger than Monday Night Raw versus Dynamite. Some things are about being a human being, about standing up for what's right, about telling someone you've got their back even when the whole world is watching. The crowd reaction to this, and I mean the virtual crowd, the millions of fans online, it's been absolutely insane. People are calling this one of the realest moments in modern wrestling. Because we're so used to the scripted drama, the worked shoots, the carefully crafted storylines. But this feels different. This feels like the curtain got pulled back and we're seeing the actual men behind the characters, the real emotions behind the personas. And here's where it gets even more intense. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the undisputed champion, the man who has carried WWE on his back for years, he responded. Not with a long statement, not with a promo, but with 2 words that said everything. Respect, brother. 2 words. That's all it took. Because when you've been through what they've been through, when you've shared that bond, you don't need essays. You don't need paragraphs. You just need to acknowledge that someone sees you, that someone understands, that someone has your back when the world gets dark. Now, CM Punk hasn't responded yet to Moxley's message, and honestly, what can he say? How do you come back from this? You've got one of the most respected men in wrestling, someone who left WWE on principle, someone who could have stayed silent, calling you out for crossing the line. You've got Roman Reigns, the face of WWE, showing solidarity with a man who works for the competition. This isn't about AEW versus WWE anymore. This is about the entire wrestling community saying there are still some things that matter more than ratings, more than pay-per-view buys, more than trending on Twitter. Halfway through this madness, and I want to remind you again, if this content is hitting you the way it's hitting me, if you're feeling these emotions, that subscribe button is right there. Hit it. Join the SLAMZONE family. We break down these moments, we analyze the drama, we give you the real talk that other channels won't. Comment below and tell me what you think Punk should do next. Should he apologize? Should he double down? Should he just stay quiet and let this blow over? I want to hear from you because this is our community and your voice matters here. You know, there's something beautiful about what Moxley did here. In an industry that's often criticized for being fake, for being scripted, for being all smoke and mirrors, he showed us that the bonds formed in that ring are real. The brotherhood is real. The respect is real. When you trust someone to catch you when you leap off the top rope, when you trust them to pull their punches so you don't actually get hurt, when you share locker rooms and tour buses and hotel rooms for years, that creates something that can't be manufactured. And Roman needed that. Think about it. Roman's been carrying the weight of WWE for so long. He's been the villain, the hero, the champion, the authority figure. He's had family drama with the Usos, he's had betrayals, he's had health scares, he's had everything thrown at him. And now someone attacks his family, attacks the memory of people who can't defend themselves, and in his moment of anger and frustration, his old Shield brother, someone who's technically the enemy from a corporate standpoint, reaches out and says, "I see you, I'm with you." That's what wrestling is supposed to be about. Not just the flips and the finishers, not just the championships and the main events, but the human stories, the real connections, the moments that remind us why we fell in love with this crazy business in the first place. The fallout from this is still unfolding. Reports are coming in that WWE management is livid about Punk's comments. AEW is reportedly not thrilled that Moxley inserted himself into WWE drama, but at the same time, they can't really punish him for standing up for what's right. Fans are calling for Punk to be suspended, fined, or worse. Some are even saying he should be fired. Others argue that this is all part of the plan, that somehow this generates interest and gets people talking. But here's what I think, and tell me if you agree in the comments. This went too far. Heat is one thing. Getting people to boo you, to hate your character, that's part of the job. But when you bring up someone's dead family members, when you weaponize grief and loss for your storyline, you've stopped being a heel and you've just become cruel. And cruelty isn't entertaining. It's just sad. What Moxley did was remind us that there are still good people in this business. There are still people who will stand up and say, no, this isn't okay. And that gives me hope. It gives me faith that wrestling, despite all its problems, despite all the politics and the backstage drama and the corporate nonsense, still has a soul. As we close this out, I want you to think about something. In your own life, when have you had someone unexpected stand up for you? When has someone you maybe lost touch with, someone who went their separate way, reached out in your darkest moment and reminded you that you're not alone? That's what happened here. That's the real story underneath all the wrestling drama. So one more time before we go, smash that like button if this video moved you, if it made you think, if it reminded you why we love this insane, beautiful, heartbreaking business called professional wrestling. Subscribe to SLAMZONE because we're just getting started, and I promise you, we're going to keep bringing you this level of passion and analysis every single week. Share this video with your wrestling friends because they need to see this. They need to be part of this conversation. Jon Moxley sent a message that echoed across the wrestling world. He reminded us that Shield brothers are forever, that respect matters, that some lines should never be crossed, and that even in a world of scripted drama, real humanity still exists. CM Punk might have thought he was creating the ultimate controversy, but what he actually did was unite the wrestling world against him and show us all who the real leaders of this industry are. This is SLAMZONE, this is your home for real wrestling talk, and I'll see you in the next one. Now get down to those comments and let me know what you think happens next because something tells me this story is far from over.